So how in the world do you manage water for millions and millions of people when you're essentially flying blind? Today, we're diving into a really cool study out of Ethiopia, where two powerful technologies went head-to-head to try and solve this exact problem. Our story kicks off right here, in Ethiopia's incredible Tana Basin. This place is literally the source of the legendary Blue Nile River. You can just imagine how vital it is. It's the lifeblood for millions, supporting farms, communities, you name it. But behind all this natural beauty, there's a huge problem lurking. And that problem is this. How can you possibly manage your water? Trying to predict droughts, plan out irrigation for farmers, get ready for floods when you have almost no data. It's like you're trying to navigate a crisis completely in the dark. So here's the deal. The Tana Basin has these wild weather swings, from really long, punishing droughts to totally erratic, unpredictable rains. But get this. There are only a handful of weather stations scattered across this massive 15,000 square kilometer area. This creates a gigantic data blind spot, which makes trying to manage water effectively, well, it's pretty much impossible. So what if you could fill in those massive data gaps from way up in space? That's the big question researchers wanted to answer. So they took two powerful, totally free tools to see if technology could finally offer a real solution. All right, let's meet our two contenders. In one corner, we've got WaPOR. Think of it as the eye in the sky. It's a portal from the UN's Food and Agriculture Organization that uses satellite observations to see what's happening with water on the ground. And in the other corner, we have ERA5 Land. Let's call it the digital twin. This is a super sophisticated model from the European Weather Center that simulates land and weather conditions. So one is watching from space, the other is simulating it on a computer. And here's where you can really see the difference. WaPOR is all about remote sensing. It's directly observing the Earth from space, and it can see things in about a 5-kilometer grid. ERA5 Land, on the other hand, is a simulation, a reanalysis model. It takes historical data and recreates the climate, working at a slightly larger 9-kilometer resolution. The big question, of course, is which one of these is actually more accurate when you check it against reality. To figure that out, the scientists couldn't just compare the two datasets to each other. No, they needed a benchmark, a source of truth. It was time to put these high-tech tools on trial against what was really happening on the ground. And here's exactly how they did it, and it's pretty straightforward. First, they gathered the ground truth. That means 12 years of actual real-world measurements from those 10 precious weather stations in the basin. Then they went and downloaded all the data from both WaPOR and ERA5 Land for the exact same places in the exact same times. And finally, they crunched the numbers, statistically comparing the satellite and model data against that ground truth to see which one was the better match. So, the stage is set. It's time for the showdown. The researchers were looking at two absolutely critical things for managing water: precipitation, that's the water coming in, and evapotranspiration, which is the water going out. All right, ding ding, round one, predicting rainfall. This is maybe the most important variable of all. How well did our eye in the sky and our digital twin actually predict how much rain fell? And wow, the result here is not even close. This chart shows what's called an R-squared score. Basically, it measures how well the data lines up with reality. A score of 1 would be a perfect match. WaPOR, the satellite data, scored a really strong 0.77. ERA5 Land, the model, it only scored 0.44. In a crucial test of predicting rainfall, the eye in the sky was the clear, decisive winner. But hold on, the fight isn't over yet. Let's move to round two, predicting evaporation. This is basically the amount of water that's evaporating from the land and coming out of plants. And this is where the story gets a whole lot more interesting. Now this is fascinating. Here, there wasn't a single clear winner. It really depends on how you measure it. If you look at the correlation, that R-squared score again, WaPOR's data showed a stronger relationship with what was happening. But if you look at a different metric that measures the actual size of the errors, ERA5 Land was actually more accurate, showing a lower error rate in 7 out of the 10 stations. And this all leads to a really important scientific takeaway, summed up perfectly by this quote from the study itself. Basically, the best tool isn't always the same. It can change depending on the specific characteristics of a location, like its elevation or local terrain. It's a fantastic reminder that in science, the answer is very often, well, it depends. Okay, so we've had this whole technical showdown. A clear winner for rain, a more complicated result for evaporation. But why does any of this actually matter outside of a science lab? What's the real-world impact? This right here shows you everything. The map on the left is what you get with just 10 ground stations. It's sparse, full of huge empty gaps. But the map on the right? That's what WaPOR satellite data gives you. It's a complete wall-to-wall picture of rainfall across the entire region. This is how technology turns a data desert into a detailed, totally actionable map of information. And it's not just about one tool. The crucial point is that we have two of them, two powerful, globally available, and completely free datasets that can be used right now to start tackling these incredibly complex water problems anywhere on Earth. And that, right there, is the ultimate takeaway. This isn't just about cool data. It's about empowerment. It gives local water managers the information they actually need to make smart decisions. Imagine a farming cooperative getting a 2 weeks heads up about a potential water shortage, giving them time to adjust their irrigation. It turns these regions from being data scarce to data informed. It is an absolute game changer. So we'll leave you with this final thought. We've just seen how powerful open access data can be applied to a critical water crisis. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other massive global challenges, from food security to disaster response, are just sitting there, waiting to be unlocked by the right data?